Here with reaction, it's time for our White House briefing with the White House Press Secretary, Caroline Leavitt. You know, I shouldn't admit all this. There's a part of me, I grew up playing hockey, and there wasn't a single day that we played hockey or basketball or football or baseball, whatever we were playing, where we didn't fight. And then we'd fight, then we'd become friends again. When you're dealing with two very powerful men, and less than a week ago, they were, best friends, got personal very quick. But really, what we're dealing with here, from my point of view, is just a major policy difference, which they acknowledged in that very friendly press conference.
That's right, Sean. And tonight, the president's focus and the focus of the entire White House remains on passing the one big, beautiful bill. And as your audience just saw on Friday, just days ago, the president graciously hosted Elon Musk in the Oval Office, and Elon thanked the president for his incredible leadership to cut waste, fraud, and abuse in our government, which this one big, beautiful bill does. So the only difference between Friday and today is Elon went back to his companies, and as a businessman, he has a right to speak for his companies. But as President Trump has a responsibility to fight for this country. And the one big, beautiful bill is the most historic piece of legislation that has moved through Capitol Hill in modern day history. Not only does this bill provide the largest tax cut for middle class and working class families, it extends the Trump tax cuts in 2017. It also delivers on President Trump's key campaign promises that he went around the country and spoke to voters across the country about, to huge applause. No tax on tips for our service workers, no tax on overtime for our law enforcement officers who are putting in extra work, having details to put food on the table. The Fraternal Order of the Police was at the White House today endorsing this piece of legislation specifically because of the no tax on overtime provision. This bill also effectively eliminates a tax on Social Security for our hardworking seniors. And not only that, it provides huge savings for the American taxpayers. $1.6 trillion in savings. We can't solve our nation's decades-old debt crisis overnight. President Trump is practical and realistic about that. But this bill is a huge, monumental step in the right direction, and it also provides critical funding for border security. It will hire more ICE and Border Patrol agents across the country, which we desperately need to carry out the mass deportation effort that is underway. And this bill also provides critical infrastructure for our national security and funding for the Golden Dome, which is another signature campaign promise of President Trump's. Look, President Trump is the unequivocal leader of the Republican Party, and this bill is going to pass.
The president was very positive on his call with Chinese President Xi earlier today, where they discussed for 90 minutes, mostly about trade. I think that's good for both countries. I've always known we'd get to this point. I've always believed that China will need access to our markets, and it's in everybody's best interest to come to a deal. Can you give us any insight into that phone call?
Well, sure. As the president said on Truth Social and also discussed in the Oval Office today, this was a good, productive call. And he has always enjoyed a respectful relationship with China's president. And China needs the United States of America and our markets. And we also have a strategic interest in China's economy and market as well. And so that's why both leaders decided today that their trade officials will continue to meet to discuss this important bilateral relationship.
Let me ask you about the judge blocking this Colorado terrorist family and the deportation that was to take place and the travel ban that the president put in place yesterday.
Well, this is just another rogue decision by a rogue judge who is trying to be, I don't know, the president of the United States, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Homeland Security. Surely these important matters of both Homeland Security and national security do not belong to lower district local judges in these districts across the country. They are trying to block the deportation of a terrorist family who has been illegally present in the interior of our our country. We also have a judge, as you know, Sean, who tried to block the deportation of illegal immigrant rapists and murderers to the country of South Sudan. And so now those illegal immigrants, those rapists, those murderers, those brutal criminals are sitting in Djibouti, and ICE agents have been forced to stay on the ground in a very dangerous part of the world to oversee the care of these illegal criminals and migrants because a lower district court judge said that they have to. Lower district court judges do not get to dictate the foreign policy and the national security interests of the United States of America. We can't run a country if the executive is not allowed to freely exercise its powers. And that's what we're seeing take place. President Trump is not shy of lawfare, though. It is something that he has faced throughout the entirety of his political career. So the Trump administration is fully prepared to fight these battles in court. We will win on the merits of the law, and we know we are winning in the court of public opinion. The American people overwhelmingly support the deportation of illegal criminals, and especially known terrorists like the one who put the terrible terrorist attack in Boulder, Colorado on full display on Monday.
All right. Well, that's our White House briefing. Caroline Leavitt, we always appreciate you being with us. Thank you so much. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.